fancy sounding. All right, gonna do a bed liner on my truck. I'm sure there's hundreds of videos of this, but you're watching mine for some reason, so cool. So I already did the bed liner on these running boards, which were really rusty and cruddy looking before I started, and it turned out really nice. Got a good texture to it, so hopefully it holds up. And it gave me enough confidence doing that on a bolt-on part that I feel confident doing it in the bed of my truck. Surface prep, I'm gonna start with just a simple green and the pressure washer, get the dirt and crud out of here. Then I'm gonna move on to roughening up the paint surface with these nylon cup brushes. When I did the running boards, I tried using a 80 grit flap disc on an angle grinder, but that just gets down to bare metal way too fast, which apparently don't want to do. You just want to roughen it up so it's got something to stick to, and wherever you do get to bare metal, then hit it with some primer. So let's get to work. All right, cleaned off, on to the next step of roughing it up, scrubbing it down with the cut brushes. All right, went over the whole truck twice with the abrasive brushes, then pressure washed it again to get the crud off. As you can see, it still looks white, but it's got a little bit of a roughness to the touch. And if you get down in there, you can see those swirl marks. That's all I was trying to do. So once I get it dried the rest of the way, it's time to start masking and spot priming and fun stuff. All right, hopefully that's a sufficient masking job, but kind of one of those things you can never really overdo it, other than you waste a little bit of tape. But I found that this stuff will eat through these cheap one-time use plastic drop cloths, so try to do a real heavy layer of tape around the edge. And why the windshield fluid, I don't want to glue down these safety chain hookup points, so once I get to that point, throw the jug over the side, lift those up so I can get a little bit of bed liner underneath them, but not trap them in. So now, time to spot prime all these spots of bare metal and nicks and scratches. I'm not going to prime the whole thing because the roughed up paint does that job for me. Here we go.
All right, so I ran out of the Raptor brand primer, which is the gray stuff. So I finished it off with Rust-Oleum primer, which was actually a lot easier to use because Rust-Oleum you could spray upside down and right side up, and I think it's cheaper too. So yeah, I wouldn't bother with the U-Pol brand primer. I got a can of this adhesion promoter, so we'll hit that on some surfaces that it might have a harder time sticking to, and then we'll call it good.
All right, all set to start going. Got my air compressor set to put out about 50-ish PSI. Take 8 ounces of this, measure out 8 ounces, dump it in the bottle, shake it up, start spraying. Here we go.
All right, and clean up. I just fill a pint glass with acetone, stick the straw in there, run that through the gun. That seems to do the trick.
All right, been about an hour. It's dry to the touch. So time for a second coat. Ended up going through 3 bottles on the first coat. Maybe could have made do with 2.5, but otherwise definitely going through a lot of material with the 8-foot bed. But hit the second coat and then start peeling masking tape up. All right, actually ended up doing about 3 coats. The first coat was 3 bottles, second coat was 2 bottles, last coat was just 1 bottle, hit some of the lighter areas, and then just kind of went over everything briefly. But it's dry enough, should be able to start pulling masking tape and see how that looks. All right, finished product. I mean, you know, a lot of products say professional results, but you can never really get that. But boy, this really does look like a professionally done bed liner. And tape lines nice and clean. That use the maximum adhesion orange painter's tape, and really looks good. Worked out well.